Welcome back to the channel, everybody. On this Saturday night, those of you who aren't out partying and having a good time, but I'm at home. It's almost 10 o'clock. Anyway, so this subject today on this video, we're going to talk about first aid kits and what I have, how and on top of that, not just what I have, but also what you should be looking for a first aid kit, and how to make a choice and this kind of stuff, and everything to deal with first aid. It's not a class on how to do first aid. It's basically helping you to help determine what you need in a first aid kit or how to find one. The kit I use or the kits I suggest are wilderness or hiking first aid kits, and you need to make sure that what's inside of them covers the ABCs. The ABCs, of course, is airway, breathing, and circulation. Okay. And then, of course, you have deadly bleeders, defibrillation, and disability. But, you're not defibrillation, you're not be carrying in the wilderness with your defibrillator. But, you need no CPR. Also, something important is the size. What size you want to carry. I have mine here. Mine is right here, excuse me. And this is my first aid kit, my personal first aid kit that I carry with me. I say personal first aid kit. It's to be used on myself, and what's in it is very special for me. For example, I also carry some medications in there, ibuprofen, this kind of stuff for myself, stuff like that for anti-swelling or whatever. And so I carry that in here, and also carry water purification tablets in here. I have some insect repellent and stuff to treat insects. And then I have different bandages and gauzes, this kind of stuff, just for everything from a small something to all the way up to, if I really get injured, bar from a broken leg. And then that's going to be a couple sticks and a roll of duct tape. I also do carry a tourniquet with me. And one thing I can tell you is that I know how to use this. And that's one of the most important things when it comes to first aid is make sure that you know how to give first aid. So if you carry a kit, and everybody should carry a personal kit. I know quite often you go on group hikes or group expeditions or courses, that kind of stuff. There's trained medical personnel with you. But also they carry a larger kit, which can be used, 5, 6, 10 people, something like that. So it really depends, okay? But what's inside, it's important to have all the things you need inside of it. And like I said, here's a small Exped waterproof bag, zippered bag, completely waterproof, water resistant completely, for sure. And I just have the whole kit inside here. It came, the base of the kit came in a small red container like a lot of them do. I took that out. I looked over exactly. The quality is the same across the board in general, So it's not a bad idea to buy yourself for like 20 francs, $30 like that, a small first aid kit. And then you could add to what you need. You can go out and buy extra bandages, this kind of stuff, or the little things that you might need. The one I purchased actually was a Care Plus, and it actually had everything I needed except for the water purification tablets and the personal stuff for myself in it. So it's a really good bag. Now I have added some more some small bandages, this kind of stuff to it. And I have replaced the insect repellent in it. And there's another, I also carry first aid sun cream lotion in here. So it's transparent. Now there's not a big first aid logo on it, but I know what it is in my bag. It's the only one like this in my bag. And yeah, I could put like a first aid logo or put a card inside of it with a first aid logo. So I'd have that. But this is mine right here. It weighs almost nothing. It weighs grams actually. So make sure you know how to give first aid, how to use first aid, because it's useless carrying one around unless you hope to find somebody else. But if you fall in a situation where you don't know how, and you have it, that's like I said, it's carrying a dull knife, And if you're with a group of people, try to make sure that they all understand how to do first aid. And first aid is not difficult. A lot of these little kits now, and this one here came in a little small book. I took the booklet out because it just added some weight and some volume I didn't know, because I've trained a lot on first aid, and we'll go over that in a minute. But it's important that those individuals who are with you to learn first aid. I remember back when I was a scout, that was when I first started scouting in '83. the first merit badge you earn is a first aid merit badge. Now, it's not so much as a requirement to earn it first now as it used to be, but I know that I made sure that when I was as an adult in scouting, that I made sure all the boys got first aid first, because it was sort of part of that advancement, and they needed to have that badge, so no matter what you did. And matter of fact, everything else you did in scouting in the merit badge handbooks, first aid for whatever you're doing. If you're cooking, they give you all of the knowledge that you need to learn and be able to understand and know how to treat for burns and for boiling water burns, this kind of stuff, how to treat this stuff. So it's important to know this and be able to use it. It's very important. Okay. When you're choosing a first aid kit, there's some things you need to look at. First of all, it's budget. There are some fantastic kits out there, and companies, I'm going to mention one of them here in a minute. Great first aid kits, and they cover the entire spectrum, something you can stick in your car, and it covers the entire spectrum of first aid items. So budget's very important, though. Next is, what are you going to be doing? What activity? Is it for your car, or is it going to be for bicycling, or is it going to be for hiking? Is it going to be for traveling? What are you going to be doing in it, with it? So that's also another thing for your first aid kit, if you're either buying one or if you're going to just make one yourself. Next, like I said, size. Size has everything to do with it, because, do you have the room in the back of your car, which I do, for a big first aid kit? I do. But you got to remember, all that stuff in that first aid kit needs to be replaced from time to time. Okay, and you need to go over it. I remember I had a beautiful tactical tailor waist first aid kit. It was a beautiful first aid kit. It was great. It was the best one I've ever seen. And it was made for soldiers, more advanced stuff. But the stuff, wore out. It ran out, and then it moved around all the time. That caused a lot of friction in it, and so it damaged some things. So basically, I had to throw everything out that was in it. So, and also animals. There are now first aid kits for animals, for dogs and this kind of stuff. Especially a lot of people travel with their dogs now. And so not only finding a good one, but learning how to use it with the animal is a little bit different than us. Some things are the same, but other things are different. And how to be able to understand, not just, knowing how to give first aid, but understanding the animal, that you're working with or that you're dealing with. So that's also very important, and even, like I said, even if it's a horse is like that too. You'd be surprised, the type of kits that exist out there. So let's talk about different companies and kits, and one of them is Survival. Survival is they're one of the best I've seen out there. Their kits are the best kits, but they are very expensive. They're not cheap whatsoever. And their kits also break down. You can get like a bundle kit, which has everything you need, and it breaks down for dog and for car and for play or whatever, hiking, this kind of stuff. And they have very nice bags. They come in very well marked, this kind of stuff. And I definitely suggest them, but be prepared to pay for that, Another one is Adventure Kits. They do very good first aid kits also, and they have different lines, everything from lightweight hiking to animals, and they make very good kits also. Now, these are if you want to buy a kit complete. Now, once you've been doing first aid for a while, you know what you're looking for, and you can possibly go into a pharmacy. Now, when I first got to Switzerland, I wanted to get a really good first aid kit. I had the ones we had to have for the cars, a little square metal and plastic one, and I have one in my car right now, but not the plastic. It's one that I put together myself that would be much better, and it fits perfectly in a small bag I have in the car. That's well marked first aid, by the way. It's in a red bag. But what I was looking for was like something, because I had, I'll tell you a little bit about my training. I spent 10 years in the Army, and when I was in the Army, we went through all of the first aid stuff. I started off first aid learning as a scout. So I got my first aid merit badge. But then I went on in high school. We had to do some first aid classes and had to learn CPR before we were able to graduate. And then also show how to use it. So, and then in the Army, I did the Army first aid training that every soldier receives. And then I received advanced first aid training and combat lifesaver training. Okay, and this is where you're working with everything from IVs, this kind of stuff. And you get to pick someone, and someone gets to pick you. And it's almost a whole day of doing that. And then I did some EMT training. I didn't get my certification, but I did the training, actually. And I went through even in the emergency room and all this kind of stuff. And then I did wilderness first aid. I did that back into scouting again, because I was a high adventure scout crew, and So we all got trained. We had a doctor come in, and she was a specialist in this from the region. And there's lots of mountains here, so we did all of that. It was a really good first aid seminar, actually, we worked on, and then we did ourselves. And then I continued training. I did a course just a couple of years ago, a course, and I realized that I hadn't forgotten anything. I learned a few extra things. One thing extra that I was really happy to have learned, I didn't know about before, but this is with the experience of 20 years also of war. And there are new products out there that you can add into your kit, but you need to know and how to understand them and how to use them. These are all very important in first aid because you can make things worse, okay? One thing you gotta remember is that in some countries, first aid is different, okay? Here in Switzerland, the laws are you're not allowed to penetrate the skin or apply medication unless you're first going to take responsibility for all that, which means you need to be a doctor or someone who has certification for that, because that person can turn around and sue you or whatever. Now, there is the Good Samaritan Law here, and this protects you for anything. And I have come up on accidents in the roads, and I have done things to help people. I've helped immobilize a lady in a car one night that completely totaled her car until the ambulance got there, and then they took care of her, and I just went on home. I didn't even worry about it. I've helped people in the street. My first 3 months I was in Switzerland, an old lady. She had to be in her late 80s, probably early 90s. Looked very good health, but very thin. She was sitting right next to me at the bus stop and just passed out and just, landed on her head. And I was on my way to work, actually, and no one would help me. This is before I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I just arrived in Switzerland. And this is when I was an English teacher at a school. And so I basically, took my shirt off, put it under her head, because she had damaged the back of her head, but I was worried about a concussion. She did come, she did wake back up again. She was confused. Someone had called an ambulance while I was yelling out for someone to call an ambulance, because there is a process to all this, and you learn this when you learn first aid. The process of of finding a casualty or dealing with someone. I use casualty because it's the military term, but someone who's in need of first aid. But I helped her and went to work with a paper T-shirt on. The ambulance driver gave me. And I taught my class in a paper T-shirt. Had a good story to tell. Anyway, there are some other companies that make Care Plus. They make adventure medical kits, and they're very good, actually. Like I said, this is the one that I have, that I got off in the very beginning, and they make very, very good kits. And another one, that's just a few of them. There are lots of companies that make them. You can go, like I said, a very cheap, inexpensive way at first, and then build on it. And that's not a bad idea, because a lot of the volume inside of your paying, especially in Switzerland. I think first time I got my list out for what I need for a first aid kit, and then I started putting it together and started looking around in pharmacies. We're talking about over $250 to $300 is how much it would have cost me, and there you go. So it's very important that you remember. Like I said, look for a good first aid kit. If you know first aid, build upon that. If you don't, take a course. Taking a first aid course is very, very important. If you do not, it's the first thing you need to do when you want to start going out, and you hold off on doing anything until you've taken a first aid course, and get some kind of certification. Why not? It's you take a test, you have that certification, and you feel confident in what you know, and continue training even after you've got your first certification. So anyway, I think I've covered everything. Yeah. Something else I want to say, make sure you replace, and it's something I learned pretty quickly also, and in the Army we just sort of naturally did it, but make sure you replace, your first aid stuff. Every time I come back, I clean my gear up, I lay it out, and I check this right here. Now, if I haven't used it, I still check it, because, like I said, it gets bumped around and bashed around a little bit, but I can go to the store, like I said, and I can find a lot of these little small products that are in it, and I'll just pull a few of them. When I have them, now what I've done is I put them in little small bags in importance, what they are. This right here is going to be, these are some bandages, but I have some rubber gloves in there also. And this is in a small little plastic bag, for a freezer bag. I need to replace it. It's torn at the bottom right here, or I can tape it up. But use, like I said, it's just for pulling out. And this right here, I've got a bigger gauze, but I also have, like I said, I have, it's called Implast. You spray it on the cut, and it seals it up. It protects it also from dirt and kind of stuff like that. and then I have chapstick, and then some meds in there also. So this is what I do: is I put all this together, and it also has a little hole in it because this is all one of the meds that popped up. But I need to go in. I'll put this aside because I need to go in and fix that. So this is what happens. Before you leave to go out on an outing, make sure you check your first aid kit and replace anything that's in it. That makes sure that's to ensure, and especially if you want to adapt to the outing you're going to go on. So even if you're just going to ride for your bicycle during the day, it's good to have a little Bobo kit with you just in case. And you never know. I mean, there's other things that you can carry with you. If you're hiking, you can throw some powders in there that that help you for energy levels, this kind of stuff too. So all that's important. Anyway. Carry a first aid kit on you. Make sure you know how to use it. Make sure you know what's in it, and make sure that it will cover all the bases while you're on your hiking journey or your adventure, this kind of stuff. So, and that's about it. Listen, I hope that this was informational. I hope this helped you a little bit. And like I said, learn. Take a first aid course, learn CPR. Even do advanced first aid and like how to use a defibrillator. I did that also with the Boy Scouts of America. We had to take extensive courses with them just to be leaders and to be teachers, because I was a teacher, or at least I have been a teacher, an instructor within the Boy Scout movement, and continue your training and then have fun on your adventures, and knowing that you're ready for just whatever may happen. Okay, listen, I want to thank you all for coming and watching my video tonight. 16 minutes and 40 seconds, but you guys have a good evening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please subscribe, share, like, and and make comments. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you're interested in any kind of classes and you're in the area, let me know. I'll help try to guide you. Anyway, thanks a lot. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night. Goodbye.